Social justice is what motivates me. I have a passion for seeing that individuals have the chance to live life to the fullest. And that's why the AIDS crisis, which we're dealing with at present, is so impacting to me, because we're dealing with a crisis which will claim the lives of more than any war ever has, and it's shaking the foundations of the way that I see the world and that people will see the world. Think about this, by 2050, so that's within our own lifetime, we're going to watch 278 million people slip from our fingertips. We're going to watch 278 million people die from the AIDS crisis. And think about that number. I'll remind you that the US population is 284 million. Can you imagine the devastation, the outcry of those people? And to sit back and watch that, it's defying your humanity. It's defying what makes you human. History would judge us by the way we deal with this crisis. So it's something that I take really seriously, and it's a message that we, as the generation, the youth, we need to take up the challenge and to take it as our responsibility and bear it as our burden equally. What happened on September the 11th, 2001 really evoked a sense of fear within Australians and people worldwide. And when you think about the media coverage that went along with that event, on the same day and every day since, 1,600 children died of AIDS, 6,000 young people under the age of 24 became infected, and 42 million people live with the virus, 95% of these people in developing countries, 2/3 in Africa. So why do most cases exist in the developing world? There's obviously a lack of awareness of what HIV is and how it's transmitted. It's difficult to convey a message without using mass media technology as we do. Then there's the problem where even if someone does know about it, they cannot afford the things like condoms, or say if a woman learns that she can pass the virus on to her newborn child by breastfeeding, she can't afford the formula milk or the clean water to mix it with. Also, people who are living in poverty are often malnourished, which means their immune systems are already down, so when exposed to the virus, they're much more likely to contract it. As far as healthcare systems go, you're looking at about one doctor to 20,000 people. That means that HIV testing opportunities are few and far between, so someone may not even know they have the virus in order to stop spreading it. Being sexually transmitted, HIV/AIDS claims most of its victims from the productive adult sector. So we're currently facing a problem where trained professionals like doctors and teachers are literally dying out faster than they can be trained. What that means is social structures are breaking down and poverty is increasing. Then there's the medicines, and you may have heard about people in Western countries taking drugs that will prolong the life of an HIV/AIDS sufferer, and they're what's called antiretrovirals. And the problem with these drugs is that they're expensive, and it's not because they're expensive to make, it's because the pharmaceutical companies have patent laws on these drugs, which mean that they're the only ones that can produce them, and therefore they can put quite a high price on them. It means that they're basically out of reach for the people in developing countries, and within Africa about 2 to 3% of the population does have access to this treatment. And negotiations are in place and have been to get these prices down so they are available, but a lot more work needs to be done. During the study tour experience I had in Tanzania with World Vision, I encountered a young girl, Halima, and she's 14 years of age, and she'd watched both of her parents suffer and pass away from the HIV/AIDS virus. and she'd watched that with her two younger sisters. And when I looked into her eyes, I could see a person much older, someone that had experienced life's hardships, and it was upsetting to see someone so young that had been through so much. At present, there are 14 million orphans worldwide. 13 million of these children are in Africa. What's happening within these countries is that these children who have lost their parents commonly refer to their wider family, be it second or third cousins. But with the increase of this virus, these social structures are ceasing to exist, so often the children have nowhere to turn to. So what's commonly happening is that children in these situations find themselves in a position where they're the head of the household, where they have to drop out of school to gain an income in whatever way they can, be it going to the mining fields or prostitution for the young girls. What we're actually encouraging is that young people especially write to the government and tell them what you think and tell them what you want as an Australian citizen. By writing to the government, we're actually supporting two things. That we are encouraging the government to increase the amount of money that we're giving to poverty alleviation, and secondly, to support any change which will improve the access within developing countries to these antiretroviral drugs, which will prolong these people's lives. So what we're actually doing tonight is we're making a change to the lives of the children in Tanzania, and we're particularly focusing on the orphans within this area in Tanzania, in Shambara. And as you can see with this shirt, it talks about the discrimination that's faced against people with HIV/AIDS. It says if you point one finger, three fingers are pointing back at you. So it's encouraging people to not stereotype people and not discriminate, not hold that stigma against people with the virus. And it says, have you tested for AIDS? And then down the bottom it says, if we do not speak, the graves will speak. Now the money that we do raise tonight will be working towards actually giving the orphans in this area, and there's actually 270 orphans, giving their care, which involves actually providing their school uniforms, food, and also paying the secondary education fees for some of these children. And that's going to depend on how much we raise tonight. And it's pretty inspiring, I think, to know that the contribution we make tonight is going to change the lives of these children. For those that actually do want to get involved and be part of the solution, you can you can sponsor a child within Africa particularly, because a lot of the children in these areas are impacted by this HIV/AIDS virus in one way or another. And when I looked into this boy's eyes, Focas, my sponsor boy, it was shortly after I returned from my Tanzanian study tour, and I saw the same look in his eyes that I saw in the look of the AIDS orphan Halima. And when I read his story, it talked about his parents abandoning him. And you know, it just goes to show the immense need within these places, within Africa, within developing countries. And these children, they need support, and we have the power to give them that support.
We fight, it's what we are, it's what we do, searching for something that's true. She cries, it's all she knows, her heart it lies, wounded where no soldier goes. Would you take my hand if I could prove myself? Lead you out of here, give you a to blame.